We will begin today's session with Sahana Vavatu. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Offering our collective salutations to our Master, Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, who is the founder of the Sri Satya Sai University for Human Excellence. I extend my greetings to all the members of the University Leadership Board and to all the staff and students present live and online. Today, we are very fortunate to have Shantanu Gupta ji addressing all of us. To give a brief introduction about Sir, Shantanu Gupta is an Indian author and political analyst. He did his schooling from the Kendriya Vidyalaya and subsequently obtained an engineering degree at the G.B. Pant University of Agriculture and Technology. He thereafter studied management at XLRI, Jamshedpur, and worked as a consultant for many years in India and abroad. In 2008, Sir went to the Institute of Development Studies in the University of Sussex, United Kingdom, to do his master's in governance and development. Over the years, Sir has worked for different organizations like Quark, Mercedes-Benz, Wipro, and many others. Later, he left his corporate life and started his social sector career, where he helped manage several projects related to remedial education interventions in Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, and New Delhi. Sir has also authored 6 books, including The Monk Who Became the Chief Minister, which is a biography on the 22nd and the current Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, Yogi Adityanath. He has also written The Monk Who Transformed Uttar Pradesh, which is a sequel to this biography. Apart from this, Sir is a founder of a leading youth-based organization known as the Yuva Foundation, where youth work on spreading awareness among youth on policy, politics, and various other social issues. He has also founded the Ramayana School, which is an endeavor to explore and contextualize the life lessons present in the Ramayana for the present generation. Today, he will be addressing all of us on the topic Lessons from the Ramayana.
Namaskar everyone. Namaskar everyone. It's such a pleasure and honor to be this institution. Me and my son Abhiram, we are here since yesterday, and fortunately last evening we got the chance to attend the prayer, and since morning Govindji took us to various institutions, from Gaushala to hospital to the girl campus and various other things happening here, and it's such an honor that what a lot of you collectively has created. I'm from Uttar Pradesh, and whenever I come to Karnataka, I see that I'm from the land of Rama, coming to the land of Hanuman. So, Namaskar and Jai Shri Ram to all of you. Today, we will discuss the journey of Rama, which is Ramayana. Ramayana is the journey of Rama, which started from Uttar Pradesh, passed through almost whole of India, Karnataka included, went to Tamil Nadu, and then went abroad, right? Even today's terms, to Lanka, and then came back. And that journey teaches us a lot of things, right? So we'll talk about the journey in next 40-45 minutes, 1 hour. Normally I use a software, and let's see if it works. Yeah. Some of you who have a mobile and who are connected to internet, can you help me in this? Some of you who have mobiles and who have internet in their mobile, just open this website menti.com. Just see the small instruction on the top. Whoever has mobile, just and whoever can operate it, just go to www.menti.com. Right? Abram, do you also want to use my mobile? Yeah. And then it will ask for a code. I think it must be asking for a code. Just enter that code. Is 5370 3540. 5370 3540. Then you will see a similar screen on your page. Basically, I'll ask you responses and you can respond on your mobile, and the response will come on the screen. That's why this software is used. It's a very interesting software to do online classes, but every individual should have a device with internet. Menti.com and then the code 5370 3540. Yeah, on the top. From the other campuses also, whoever in the faculty has a mobile phone, they can also do the same. Some of you are connected, I guess, right? Shall we proceed? Okay. Even if you're not, leave it, right? If you're able to do, it will give a good feel to many of the other participants also. So we call it leadership lessons from Ramayana. So this is a test. Which city, country are you living in right now? This is just a test so that you can enter and it will come here, right? Normally I do this program internationally. So that's why this question becomes relevant. But here we know who are participating. But this will give you a test. Yeah. So see, someone has entered and you're able to see the result here. And if a lot of people enter the same thing, the same world will come bigger. See, Armudanhalli is also here. Bharat Varsha is also here. Bangalore is also here. What is that place? How to pronounce that? Slow. How to say that? Nallakadaranahalli. Oh, this is Chikballapur also, right? Yeah. Beautiful, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. So that's just for. Okay. Now tell me, from where did you learn your Ramayana? I'm sure you all know Ramayana, right? You know the basic story. Ramaji started from Ayodhya. He got exiled. He spent a lot of time in jungle. Sometime Mata Sita got kidnapped. And then he aligned with Hanumanji in Karnataka, Sugrivaji in Karnataka. Then he took on the mighty Ravana and defeated. This much basic story. Maybe details you might be missing, but this much you all know. But how you learned it? Interesting. 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 You know, whenever I put this slide, it makes me happy and sad. You know why? Happy that everyone knows the story, and happy that a lot of us are learning Ramayana through the oral tradition, which is India's tradition, right? Written tradition is very late in the day in India. We were a civilization of oral tradition that from Guru Shishya Parampara, Guru will pass it on orally to the Shishya. But in the process, we missed out reading on the original text. So very few of you, 7 and 5%, have read either the original Valmiki Ramayana or one of the other versions, Tulsi Ramayana. Or, you know, in every Indian state have their own, from Kamban Ramayana to Adhyatma Ramayana. Even outside India, let's say Indonesia, 90% people are Muslim there, but they have their own Kakavin Ramayana. Thailand has Ramayana as the national book. It's called Ramakiyan. Can you imagine a Buddhist country having Ramayana as their national book? In fact, there is a city called, they call it Ayodhya, but the pronunciation Ajutya, right? But that prompts you, and I heard that you also do a course in Vedic studies, to read shloka by shloka, 24,000 shlokas of Ramayana. Is one of the world's largest written text. And only there's one text which is more than this, which text which is bigger than Ramayana, which is Mahabharata, which is how many shlokas? Which is 4 times of these shlokas, right? These are the 2 massive texts available. Even if you take as a text, even if you take as a kavya, is the massive text. Okay, so that gives us some sense. Shall we do a small quiz? Okay. Some of you who are not on the mobile, maybe you can prompt from your wherever you are. Just okay. Somehow the question is missed. Just give me a second. Sorry. Just give me a second. Who wrote original Ramayana? Rishi Valmiki, Rishi Vashishta, Rishi Vedavyasa, Rishi Vishwamitra. Rishi Valmiki. We'll convert into percentage. No, that's an easy one. So don't get too happy. That is just a warm-up question. Okay. Was Rishi Valmiki contemporary of Lord Rama? Contemporary means they lived on the same time on the earth. Like when Rishi Valmiki happened on earth, Rishi Ram also happened. Is that so or otherwise? House is divided. The answer is contemporary. In fact, in Ramayana, Rishi Valmiki and Rama is talking thrice. There are almost 10 shlokas which talks about Rishi Valmiki talking to, in fact, in Uttarakanda. You know Uttarakanda? So there is important Kand, but after Yuddhakanda there is Uttarakanda, right? Which is largely about Lavakusha. When Lavakusha takes on, so in fact there is a small fight between Lavakusha and Rama. And there Valmiki ji comes in picture. He stops the fight to happen. And during the Vanvas also, they meets Valmiki ji briefly. Okay. Okay. Valmiki Ramayana has how many sargas? Chapters are called sargas, right? A typical book of yours have how many chapters roughly? A typical book, whichever subject. How many normally? 10, 15 normally, right? That's a chaptering in a book. This is 645 sargas. Shlokas we already know, right? So even if you don't know, no hard feeling, just learn a fact. Just learn a new thing today, right? Don't feel too bad about it. Okay. Valmiki Ramayana has how many shlokas? This you already know, we've spoken already. But at least remember it now. I have made 1008 and 1008 just to confuse you. See, इसमें भी कुछ गलत लिख रहे हैं. Okay. Okay. Lord Rama was whose avatar? Lord Rama was avatar of Bhagwan Brahma, Bhagwan Vishnu, Bhagwan Shiva, Bhagwan Krishna. Lord Krishna, the 2% people. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Only thing in the software, you can't identify who is that. It's anonymous. Valmiki Ramayana is written in which language? Is in Sanskrit or Pali, Awadhi or Hindi? Valmiki Ramayana is written, the original Ramayana, which is Valmiki ji's Ramayana, is written in which language? Is written in Sanskrit. And there was a hint already. Shloka is a construct only in Sanskrit. You know which is the famous Ramayana which is written in Awadhi? Ramcharitmanas. The Tulsidas Ramcharitmanas is written in Awadhi. Okay. 3-4 more questions. In which Kand Rama was born? So the hero of the story should be born first, right? In which Kand was he born? In Balakand, in Yuddhakand, in Kishkinda Kand, or in Ayodhya Kand? In which Kand was he born? In Balakand, not in Ayodhya. Okay. In which Kand Rama killed Ravana? In Balakand, Yuddhakand, Kishkinda Kand, or Ayodhya Kand? In which Kand Rama killed Ravana. Okay. There is one Ayodhya here also. You have to find these people. Okay. Some people did not change their names. Music department. Aha. Beautiful. Lovely. Who is Sri Ranga? He's in this room? Ah, good. Okay. So this is just to after lunch. I know it's difficult to do anything. So this is just to motivate you. Okay. Now be with me. Yeah. Okay. So we will, for the next 40-45 minutes, we'll talk about Valmiki Ramayana. As we told, there are more than 100 developed version of Ramayana, right? From Tulsi Ramayana to Kalidas to Kamman to Adhyat to Kakavin to Ramaki, and the developed version, like scholarly version, where people done multiple PhDs on those Ramayana. 6 or 7 kands. Why I'm saying 6 or 7? Because a lot of scholars say the Ramayana ends at Yuddha Kand, and a lot of people think that Uttarakand was a later addition, and a lot of scholars think, I'll talk about it if we get time, that Uttarakand was the original part of Valmiki Ramayana. And there's 645 sargas, as we talked about, and there 24,000 shlokas. Because before reading a book, we should know what we are reading, right? So we are reading something which has 7 kands, 645 chapters, and 24,000 shlokas, 2-line shlokas, right? Balakand, Ayodhya Kand, Aranya Kand, Kishkinda Kand, Sundar Kand, and Yuddha Kand. And let's say one word for each Kand. If I say Balakand, what does it signify? One major thing that happened in Balakand. Rama is born, right? Our hero should be born. One more important activity, the marriage with Mata Sita. So Mata Sita is also in the picture now, right? Okay. Ayodhya Kand, one major thing, exile, right? So Ayodhya Kand means exile, right? Aranya Kand, Sita Mata's abduction, right? That's most important. So that there are a lot of other details, but one important, so that what is Aranya Kand? Abduction, right? Kishkinda, it's your local. Kishkinda Kand is Karnataka's Kand. See, KK matching also. Meeting Ramji with Sugriv, and you can say killing of Bali, but main thing meeting with, I'll say Hanuman, but yeah, Sugriv, because the king was Sugriv ji, right? Sundarkand. But Lanka is fine, but important thing is search for Mata. Like Mata Sita is found finally, because Mata Sita is already lost from Aranya Kand onwards, right? So Mata Sita is finally found, and Yuddha Kand is Ravana dead. Okay, so now you can relate, right? So if I'll tell any Kand, you will know which Kand I'm talking about. Okay, good. See, normally I do a long 10-hour course on 10 days. So that's why I'm trying to concise this. I used a couple of tools, but that's a material now. So we'll start with Balakand. And luckily, this picture is very interesting. You know why it's interesting? It's interesting on 2-3 counts. First of all, Bal Roop of Rama is not available. Like, I'm sure you guys must not have seen Bal Roopa much, right? Because in north of India, because he was born there, right? So let's say the Ayodhya temple that's coming up, right? There the Rupa of Ram is Bal Rupa, because he was born there, right? Very few places you'll find the Bal Rupa. Bal Rupa of Krishna is quite known because of a lot of his naughty activities, right? But Rama's Bal Rupa is not available. That's one thing is important. And you know, where is this picture from? It's from Ayodhya. This is a real picture from Ayodhya. We did a huge art festival in Ayodhya where we took almost 10,000 square feet of wall from government municipal of Ayodhya and put some 150 artists, student artists, and they painted Ramayana mural. So this is almost in the entry of Ayodhya. When you take a turn from the Lucknow Gorakhpur road, you take a turn to Ayodhya, you will find this pillar. So let's enter into Ayodhya. So which empire we're talking about? We're talking about Kosala Empire, or Kaushal in Indian language is called, right? Kaushal Naresh, right? And the capital city was Ayodhya, right? So he was not the king of Ayodhya. He was the king of Kaushal Samraj, right? Ayodhya was the capital city. And we are talking about the time of King Dashrath. They are from the Suryavansh, solar dynasty. He has 3 queens, Kaushalya, Kekai, and Sumitra. Every king used to have a Kuluguru, or you can say a dharmic advisor in today's term. Who was he for Dashrath ji? Rishi Vashishta. And Rishi Vashishta also was a teacher for when Ramji will get born. So the city was happy, city was wealthy, city has health, no corona at that time. Everyone was happy, prosperous, but Dashrath had a worry. What was the worry? He did not have a progeny. Like who will take care of Ayodhya after him, right? So it was recommended that you should do Putra Kameshti Yagna. Putra Kameshti Yagna. Now, I've written something called fact check here. Why I've written fact check? A lot of you who are learning Sanskrit, a lot of people from the West, or a lot of people who don't like Ramayana, they create a dispute out of this term Putra Kameshti Yagna. And what can be a dispute can be created? Can you guess? It's very easy dispute that can be very easily created by this name itself. Putra. That Dashrath only wanted Putra, means male child. But if you know Sanskrit, Sanskrit is a very developed language, right? Sanskrit is a very developed language. So Putra here only is the meaning of Santan, which is child, not the connotation as male child, right? So if someone blames that, you can clarify. Putra Kameshti Yagna. So Putra Kameshti Yagna. Yagnas is nothing but scientific exercises, right? So let's say some of you will be expert in music, some of you will expert in physics, chemistry, sports. Everyone may not be expert in everything. So this was quite a typical and tough yagna. And it was suggested to Dashrath ji that sage Rishi Rishyasringa is an expert. You have to somehow bring him. Otherwise, it's very difficult to do this yagna in full proprietary. Right? Well, all the mantras, all the ahutis is very difficult to do. So can you get him? And he lives outside of the Ayodhya Janapada. All the rishis used to live in jungles. And jungles were not in jurisdiction of the kings that time. That was a true secularism when your religious seat is not under any government, right? They were outside the purview. And Dashrath went to convince him. And how did he go? He went without the crown, without the footwear, without the khadao, without his bodyguards, without the kingly chariot, basically without any kingly protocol, right? Because of the respect for knowledge of Rishi Rishyasringa. That was the knowledge. Okay, tell me what you want to become in life. If some of the students or whoever, even the grown-ups can tell. Nobody wants to become anything? Okay, good human being, beautiful. Artist. Selfless one, good person, professor, artist, singer, saint, musician, selfless, God, beautiful. In fact, Govindji just gave me this card of Baba, and it reads, beautiful thing, I am God and so are you, right? So, good human being. Beautiful, Nobel laureate, wow. I always say aim high, beautiful, right? And Rishi Rishyasringa was the master in whatever he wanted to do. And that's my first lesson. If you want to be a professor, be the best one. If you want to be an artist, singer, be the best one, right? So that even king will come to your door. And that's my lesson number one. Experts are valued even by kings. You remember during Corona, Narendra Modi went to two places. You know where he went? Two places, two factories he visited during Corona. One in Pune, one in Hyderabad. Both the pharmaceutical companies, I forgot the name of COVID Shields factory, the others Poonawala's companies. What's the name? Serum Institute and Bharat Infotech. Bharat Biotech. Bharat Biotech in Hyderabad, right? And Serum Institute in Pune. Because both these institutes were developing and making vaccines. So even kings, today's kings are prime ministers and chief ministers, right? So when kings will visit to your door, if you are expert in whatever you are doing, right? And whenever I use the term expert, I use this as a analogy that if you want to be expert, be like Rishi Rishyasringa, so that even king will come to your door without any protocol, that too, like a normal person, without the crown, without the chariot, without the slippers, without the guards. Okay, beautiful. Let's leave this. Okay, so Yagna happened. Kaushalya ji gave birth to Rama, Kaikeyi ji gave birth to Bharata, and Sumitra ji gave birth to twins. A lot of people don't know this fact. Lakshman and Shatrughan. Okay, so now we have 4 prince and they are getting trained in Gurukula. And Gurukula, I need not explain to you what is Gurukula format of education. It was a complete education which has the element of statecraft to economics to welfare politics to warfare, statecraft, politics, arthashastra, everything, right? Okay, this is the picture I clicked myself. It's called Dashrath Mahal in Ayodhya. This is supposed to be where the area near to where Sri Ramchandraji and all were living. This is the current picture, like 1.5 years back. Have any of you been to Ayodhya? Been to Ayodhya? Want to go to Ayodhya? Okay, I think next tour should be to Ayodhya. I think I always keep saying people do visit it now once before 2024. After that, it will become another Tirupati where it's so tough to go there, right? There'll be a huge line and all of that. So currently, till the time the mandir is being made, what is the most famous temple there currently, which is operational? It's Hanumangadi, it's Hanumanji's temple. In the absence of Ramji's bigger temple, the biggest temple is, so whenever Yogi Adityanathji or anyone dignitary go there, they will go to the construction site of the temple, but largely they will go to Hanumangadi. Okay. Okay, so once their kind of school education was over, Gurukul education over, Rishi Vishwamitra came and took them along with them for a, if you can say, field education or the practical education. And why he took them, Ram and Lakshman? He said, a lot of people are troubling me. A lot of asuras are troubling me, means my yagnas, and I want these 2 boys to help me. And they were only 15 years then. Ram and Lakshman were hardly 15, 16 years then. And he narrated them a lot of stories from how Bhagirathji got Ganga to earth, how Kumbh churning has happened. All of the stories he narrated. Now tell me, who was the first Rakshasa Rama and Lakshmana really faced in life? First Rakshasa. What is Marich? Was it Talaka? Was it Subahu? Was it Vatapi? Correct answer is Tadaka or Tataka. A lot of people pronounce it as. So Tataka is the first challenge in life. Till now they were practicing bow and arrow, but to a fixed target, not to an enemy. This is the first real enemy. And for Tadaka and her son Marich, only Vishwamitra ji took Ram and Lakshman. Let me pose you another challenge. Right? Let's say you are about to miss a flight. Right? You are in New Delhi, you have to catch a flight to USA. Let's say you are a family of 4 and it costed you $10,000. $10,000, you know how much money? It's almost 7-8 lakh rupees. What will you do? Will you forego your 7-8 lakh rupees or you break the red light? Tell me really. Don't give me because I will not even get to know who's answering what, right? So tell me really honestly what you would do. If you miss a flight worth 8 lakh rupees, the traffic challan will be not even 1,000 rupees, right? So it's a competition between 1,000 rupees and 8 lakh rupees. You will throw 8 lakh rupees or you will break the red light or take a U-turn, you will overspeed. Oh, there are a lot of racers here, all will overspeed. Or follow traffic rules and miss the flight, right? 8 lakhs is nothing. I'll buy 3 more tickets. Okay. So this is basically, if I can call you modern Rams, right? This is the behavior of a modern person, right? That, okay, rules are rules. I will see rules are only followed on a good day, not on a bad day, right? So now I'll juxtapose that how Rama faced his first challenges, right? His first challenge in life was Tadaka, right? The first adversity in life is Tadaka. And Vishwamitra ji said, this is Tadaka. Go ahead and take the most sharpest or the most powerful arrow and just eliminate her. Okay, so Rama took the arrow and said, okay. And as soon as about to leave the arrow, he said, no, I can't do anything with that. Vishwamitra said, what happened, boy? He said, no, she's a woman. I can't hurt a woman. I've been told, I've been taught, I can't hurt a woman. And then there is almost like a there's a mini Gita happened there, right? Arjuna had the same issue, right? Not with women, but generally. He had like developed cold feet at the end, right? That how can I kill my relatives, my chacha, my uncle, my tata? How can I attack them? How can I kill them? He has a similar dilemma that I was being told not to hurt a woman. Then Vishwamitraji coached him that, okay, you are right. Even I teach the same thing to my disciples, my students. She's a woman, but she's Talaka in this case only is in a body of a woman. She is not having the qualities of the woman, not the daya, karuna, mamta that a woman entails. She kills children, she kills women, she kills men, she kills sadhus, she destroys pujas. So then when his moral dilemma is kind of solved, then only he launched the arrow and eliminated Talaka. And so my lesson is to all the overspeeders that uphold highest of the moral standards even in the times of crisis. Right? Sometimes it may sound, no, it's not practical. See, we are not talking Ramayana after different datings call is 7,000 to 6,000 years back. We are not talking about Ramayana because it was the most practical trick in life, right? Because that's why Rama is still talked today. Because he has set the highest standard on morality on this earth. In fact, I always say, do we pray King Dashrath? We revere him, we don't pray him, right? Do we play Lavakusha? We know good nicely about them. We are not temples after temples of Lavakusha, right? And if Rama would have been just a king, right? Like a king of Ayodhya, maybe he might not be treated in this civilization as a god. His journey from Ayodhya to Tamil Nadu and to Sri Lanka and how he behaved in that journey, right? Even in the worst of the crisis, right? He behaved the way he behaved, and we'll talk about it. That made him from King Rama to Sri Rama, or Lord Rama, or Bhagwan Rama. Uphold highest of the moral standards even in the time of crisis. Okay, after that, Vishwamitraji was happy, took him to Mithila, to Dashratha's court, where Swamvar was happening. Swamvar, what you know, Swamvar? Select your, so that even in that time, Indian female were so empowered that they were allowed to choose their own groom, right? Their husband, prospective husband. And Rama broke the Dhanush, Shiva's Dhanush, and he was eligible to marry Mata Sita. And when they came back, they got this gift, quite a good gift, right? They got a new house. So Rama and Sita got a good house. And this is the current picture, Kanaka Bhavan. This is in Ayodhya. So when you're going to Ayodhya, you will visit Dashrath Mahal and Kanaka Bhavan also. You know what is the meaning of Kanak? Gold. Kanak means gold. Like it's as beautiful. The picture is not coming. It's yellowish. It almost, when the sun falls on it, this Bhavan literally looks like Kanak. And you know who gifted this Bhavan to Ram and Sita? It's quite a interesting answer. Say that. Kekai gifted this, right? Kekai gifted this. So meaning till the time she was fine with Ram and Sita, right? It was quite an expensive gift. Okay, so here ends Balakand. So the entry of Balakand is almost Dashrath's worry, and end of Balakand is Rama's marriage, right? And return back to Ayodhya from Mithila, which is Bihar, Nepal side. I'm just telling you the geography also. So we are in Ayodhya. Ayodhya is almost east of UP, east of Lucknow also. So Lucknow is almost center of UP, and east of, and then Bihar, the marriage happened, came back to Ayodhya. Okay. Ayodhya Kand is what is the one word for Ayodhya Kand? Exile. Is our word exile, Vanvas. Okay. I'm sure you know about it. So Dashratha's worry now, Dashratha's worries now that my children are now capable. Who will be the next king? I'm getting old. Who will be the next king? And who was selected as the next king? Raman. How was he selected? Why was he selected? Say that loudly. Do you think that's the criteria? No, I think that's one of the misbelief again, right? That he was the eldest, he was chosen, right? These are the like lot of people who has not studied Ramayana just told us and we believed, right? There was a full code that was set up for selecting the next king, right? You know who were there? His whole court was there. A lot of kings were called from whole of. There was a description of Vanara kings also. So meaning people from Karnataka also went there, right? So every kind of king went there, far away and nearby. And then there's a description of people's representative. In today's language, NGOs, civil society organizations, dharmic organizations, right? They were called, and there was a huge manthan. There were points set up, like why, what is the criteria for setting a new king? And the points were, does he understand statecraft? Statecraft, running a state. Does he understand politics? Is he good in warfare? Is he in today's point? How we select today's kings? Through, but voting is what? Finding a popular person. So is he popular among people? The people like him or not? Maybe he's good in wars, but what is very cruel, right? Ravana also was very good in war, but he was not popular among his people. So he should be popular, which is today's criteria also. So from today's criteria to other criteria, they all were selected, almost discussion happened, and everybody voted for him. Voted means they selected his name. Though the real today's kind of elections did not happen, but the people's representative were there. And then Rama's name came, right? And next day was decided for his coronation. Coronation means the Rajabhishek, Rajatilak. And then everybody was happy. People were deciding what will I wear tomorrow, and they were garlanding each other. They were giving sweets to each other, right? They were everyone very excited because Rama was very popular, right? Oh my, our Rama will become the king. It was their king, right? Only one person was not happy. Who was that one person? No, not Kekai. Kekai was also very happy. Manthara was not happy. And who is Manthara? Manthara was Kekai's help, who came with Kekai from her hometown, right? And Kekai said, Kekai comes to, Manthara comes to Kekai. He said, hey, why are you so happy? He said, no, my Rama is becoming your Rama. Who is your Rama? Your son is Bharat. And you know, Darshat will die very soon. And this Kaushalya and Ram, they will make you a second-rate citizen in your own place, right? Don't be too happy. He said, no. Ram is as much as my son as is Kaushalya's son. But Manthara tried that same sentence in 1,000 different articulation, and within a couple of hours, she was able to change the mind of Kekai, right? And then reminded her that there are 2 boons which are pending, and you can ask for those boons, those promises that Darshat has given. Kekai helped Darshat in one of the wars. That also demystifies that women were part of the wars. A lot of people say, no, women were very pavam, very bechara in India. No. Women, and I'll tell you multiple examples in Ramayana itself. Mahabharata, there are multiple examples. Even Ramayana itself, there are multiple examples where women were part of, in Vanara kingdom, I'll tell you, there are multiple references where women were part of armies. So she helped Darshatha in one of the wars crucially. So he gave her a promise that you can ask for 2 promises whenever. And she used those 2 veto powers and asked for 2 things. What are the 2 things? Make my son Bharat as a king. She was not happy then. He said, what if this Ram guy comes back and said, no, influences something? Send him away. Send him away so that he can never come back, right? Because the jungles were very dangerous jungles, right? Be it demons, be it wild animals, be it lack of food. She thought like 14 years, who will come back, man? Basically, Rama should be gone out of the scene, right? So she proposed these 2 ideas, and now Dashrath had a choice, right? Shall he agree or shall he not agree, right? Let me ask you, what will you do? Imagine you are Dashrath. Just close your eyes and think you are Dashrath. Imagine a mukut. You are Dashrath. And first of all, you will lose your son. And Dashrath has like amazing fondness for Rama, right? Almost like a lifeline. So you will lose your son. And Ayodhya will lose such an amazing king. That's a bigger worry, right? Or you will ask Kekai, okay, I'll agree to your promise, but you can't ask like some random promise, right? He's a chosen king. The whole Sabha set up and selected him after a due diligence, after a detailed process, he was selected as a king. You can't ask randomly, oh, make my son Bharat as a king, right? So what will you do? Today's Dashrathas. I think after the first question, a lot of people are careful. So 36% will agree to the demand, 34% and rest, maybe 65% will not agree to the promises. So there are only 35% promise keepers here, rest all promise breakers. Okay, so let's see what the real Dashratha did. Real Darshadan, this is a very famous chaupai in Tulsi Ramayan, which is called Raghukul Reet Sada Chali Ai, Prana Jaye Par Vachan Na Jaye. Do you understand what it means? Raghu was one of the descendants of, in the whole Ishwaku lineage, Raghu was one of the, though all of the kings were known for their honesty, but Raghu was like extra known, like he was like super famous for his honesty, that if I have given a promise, I have given a promise. I will only break it over my death, over my dead body. So Prana Jaya, I'm ready to give my life, but I'm not ready to give on a vachan. I'm not ready to give on a promise. So even though it'll be not good for Ayodhya, it'll be not good for my own self, right? Because I love my sons so much. But if I will not keep promise, then who will? Then the legend of promise keeping will be broken. Who will keep promises, right? And if you compare from today's scenario, in fact, after this session, try to talk to, I'm sure you must be having some lawyer friend or somebody who's lawyer in the family, right? Half of the cases in any court is about trust of breach. Any breaching of trust, right? Any agreement, which is me and sir has did an agreement and I did not follow the agreement, he will take me to the court. Even a check bounce is a trust breach of trust, right? Basically, two payments are promised and one people, and these are all notified promises, not like oral promises. Oral promises you can't even take to modern courts. Modern courts, you have at least an email, you have some documentary proof. Right? So these are the oral promises which are in today's court, right? And Dashrath is ready to promise, ready to honor an oral promise, which no one knows. Yeah, that's also, there was no testimony to that oral promise also. It's only between him and Kekai. If he says, no, Kekai, this is lying, he can always say that, right? No, Kekai is lying. I have not done any promise like this. But just because this is my word, I will walk the talk. So that's why I'm saying, just try to imagine, this was the level of morality that time. And today, the level of morality is that like father and son are in court, two brothers are in court, husband and wife are in court just because of some land, some property and unwritten agreements, right? So he followed the promise and Rama had to go to the exile. Okay. So he was exiled and now, so Ayodhya Kand ends with the exile, right? There's some details about the exile that he sets up the shop in his house in Chitrakoot. That's the first place. That's also in today's Uttar Pradesh. Now let's land in Aranyakand. I'm missing a lot of smaller details because as I told you, it's a 10-day session that I take. Maybe we'll take opportunity to do it online sometime, a detailed one. But today, let's touch a couple of interesting points. Okay, now they are in Chitrakoot. In Chitrakoot, you know what is Chitrakoot most famous for in the whole Ramayana thing? Because Bharata, when he comes back, he realizes that Darshath is dead. Yeah, Darshath dies. After a couple of months, he was not able to eat, sleep, breathe. He lost his life, right? In just the sadness of be away from Rama. Bharata came, he said, oh my God, what happened to my place? My father is dead, my two brothers are out, my one bhabhi is out, what is happening? And Kekai said, no, I earned it for you. Now you are the king. He said, I am not the deserving one. Can you imagine that? I am not the deserving one. And in fact, I worked for Wipro around 15 years back, and Azim Premji used to say this, that first become deserving and then start desiring. We all desire, I should become the head of this organization, but we don't even know, do we have the qualities to become that? So first deserve that and desire. And Bharata said this, I am not the deserving one. If I would have been the deserving one, the Sabha would have chosen me, not Rama. Right? And I know the qualities. In a lot of these attributes, I know not even half of Rama. He is a better choice for Ayodhya. But today's brothers, they're, I'm sure from Ambani's to Renbexi, there are divisions. Every brother says, no, I want to be the head. You are waste, right? So all of that happened. And then I'm sure you know, the arrangement between both of them is that Rama will be the king for 14 years and Bharat will be his representative. And he took the padukas and he did not live in the palace. He made a hut. He lived in a hut near Ayodhya. There is a village called Nandigram. Very good. Nandigram. He lived not the Bengal wala Nandigram, not Mamta Didi's Nandigram. This is a Nandigram near Ayodhya. Oh, here is a Nandigram. I have seen in India, a lot of villages have common name multiple states. because a lot of names are traditional. There's some story behind it, right? So he lived there. He kept the padukas there, and then after that, they spent almost 10 years in various gurus' ashrams. All Ram, Lakshman, Sita kept on learning different things, right? Sometimes shastras. And then in the last 1 year, so almost 12 and a half, 13 years are over. Last 1 year, Agastya Rishi suggested them that why don't you live in a place called Panchavati. Panchavati is where in today's India? Kurukshetra is in Haryana. That's where Gita happened. Maharashtra, near Nasik. Right? Nasik, you know Nasik? Trambakeshwar, there's one of the Jyotirling is there, right? There is Panchavati. Still there is a legend, Panchavati. The tourist guide will take you to where the Gufa was, Sita Gufa, where they lived. So they were living there nicely. One day morning, Sita saw a very nice looking, very shiny deer, and she said, I want to play with the deer. Right? Can you get it for me? Right? And before that, there was a small incident happened. What is the incident happened before that? Surpankhana incident happened. Surpankhana saw these two boys, very handsome looking boys. She wanted to marry one of them. Right? But both Ram and Lakshman, Ram said, I'm already married. And that's also a very profound statement. What is special about saying I'm already married? Because those days it was a tradition of marrying multiple women. His father had three marriages. It was first time on human earth someone established the concept of one life, one marriage, which is a law in apart from Islamic country. It's a law. Though it's from one life, one marriage, it's changed to one time, one marriage. Right? Like, yeah, you can divorce and marry someone else, but one time, apart from only from Islamic countries, you can have only one marriage, which is a legal law. But someone who spoke this first time on this civilizational earth is Bhagwan Ram. You can attribute that law to him. He said, I'm already married. And that's why it's very profound in that context, because that time marrying multiple women was not a problem. That time. In fact, to his father, who was a very revered king, Dasharatha was a very revered king, right? And you know, Lakshmana cut the nose when she attacked Mata Sita. She had cut the nose and ears of Surpankhana. Surpankhana went back and told the local people of Ravana. Who were the local people of Ravana? Khar and Dushan, right? And Khar and Dushan had a war with a huge army. They defeated Rama and Lakshman, defeated them, and then happened this incident, right? And she saw, I want to play with this deer, right? And Lakshmana was little suspicious. He said, no, we messed up with Surpankhana, Khar and Dushan. This golden deer looks like little dicey. But Mata Sita was too bent on that, please get me this golden deer. I want to. So Rama said, let me try. And before going, he said, Lakshmana, that, okay, you just take care of Mata Sita. I'll go and get this golden deer. Right? And then after a while, Rama realized that this golden deer looks tricky. Right? Because he was vanishing, he was changing forms, right? And it took him quite deep in the jungle. So instead of catching, Rama changed the mode to eliminating or killing. But in the process, the deer took him quite deep in the jungle. And as soon as he put the arrow, he played one more trick, the golden deer. And the golden deer was really what? Marich. And this is the same Marich which in the starting, when he was 16 years, Rama was 16 years and Vishwamitra took him, he killed all of them, Taraka, Subhahu, but Marich was not killed. Marich was just thrown away. Right? Marich was thrown away. And I heard there is a legend that a lot of these hills around has connection to Subhahu and Taraka also. I heard the story last evening. So, and when the golden deer turned Marich, it shouted in whose voice? In Rama's voice, that save me, Lakshman, save me, Sita. And Sita got quite very, right? So first of all, the lesson is that everything that glitters is not gold, because Marich, the golden deer, was not really golden. And it sounds very simple, but in life, we make a lot of decisions based on how a person or how a thing looks, isn't it? We make friends based on how a person looks. We make our marriage decision based on how the other person looks. We eat food based on how good the food looks, not how healthy the food is, and how lucrative the food is, right? So whenever something is over shiny, whenever something is over sweet, I'm not saying doubt every time, but at least make a conscious decision, right? So I always say beware of golden deers. If something is too shiny, is too attractive, not to be true, try to take a judgment call before going after it. Okay. Okay. So by the time it came, then Lakshman also went. Lakshman put a Lakshman Rekha. He went out. Ravana came in the form of Sadhu, asked for the food. She has to come out. And then Ravana took Mata Sita. And when Ravana was taking Mata Sita, this is one person tried to resist. Who is that person? Jatayu. Jatayu took, and but Jatayu also died in the process. But at least he held in one way. How he held? Though he died, he's about to die. Before dying, he told the clue to Ram and Lakshman, right? Two clues. What are the two clues? At first, Ravana did it. That first of all, no, if you in law in any court judgment, first is who's the culprit, right? Who did it? So who did it? Ravana did it. And the second, where? Where? Because he was also, he took in Pushpak Vimana and he was also a bird. So he was able to see the direction. He took Mata Sita towards south. He towards two things, Ravana and south. These are the two. So they started walking towards south. Who? Ram and Lakshman. And then they met one more Rakshasa called. Wow, who said that? It's a tough question. And that was a question in KBC last session. Kabanda. And Kabanda was a Gandharva who was form of a Rakshasa. When they fought war and defeated Kabanda, Kabanda became the Gandharva and gave one more suggestion. What was the suggestion? Shabri did not give that suggestion. Kabanda gave that suggestion. What was the suggestion? Go to Sugriva. Go to the exiled king Sugriva. Right? Because Sugriva was also exiled. I'm sure you know the Bali Sugriva confusion. That's a long story. I'll not tell you now. So Sugriva was exiled and take the help of him in Karnataka in Kishkinda. Right? Okay. So now Rama teams up with Sugriva. Right? And they told the story to each other. What is my story? What is Sugriva's story? And there is two things very common in their stories right now. What is the two common things in their life happening right now? They both are away from their wife. Sugriva's wife is forcibly kept by Bali. What is the name of Sugriva's wife? Tara. Tara is kept by Bali. And Sita is being kidnapped. And what is the second similar things in the life? Both are away from the kingdoms. They could have been kings. They're away from their kingdom. So in such a format, it's easy to help each other, right? They promised to help each other. What help did Rama offer? He did not say the word kill Bali. He said, I'll make you the king, whatever it takes. If it takes to kill Bali, I will kill Bali. Right? And what help did Sugriva offer? That once I'll get the kingdom back, I will have the whole Sena with me and I can help you wherever Mata Sita is. And you know, Sugriva was known for what? Sugriva, everyone has some amazing quality. Sugriva was known for, he knew the global geography like no one else. In fact, there is a word called Sugriva's Atlas. You should find that video on YouTube. Sugriva's Atlas. You know, later I'll tell you, when he was sending his army to search Mata Sita, you know, he described till Java, Sumatra, which is in current Indonesia. He has knowledge of that much world geography. He explained towards south of Kishkinda, towards top of Kishkinda, towards east and west, each and every name's place. And fortunately, those names are still existing in India's map and global map. Right? So he said, I know the world geography like anything. I'll make sure that I'll find Mata Sita. So there is a win-win partnership. What is a win-win partnership meaning? Both have an advantage. He said, I will search Mata Sita for you. I'll get a. So such partnerships normally go long. If you say, no, I will take all the benefit and then Goli Maro, then it may not work, right? Okay, this is the place from Karnataka, Anjaneya temple. And fortunately, your chief minister is talking interesting plans around Anjaneya. Yeah, I got to know that. Okay, now let's land to Sundarkand. So the teams towards north, east and west came back without any success. Team towards south was the most powerful team. Who was there in the team in south? Hanumanji, Jamwant, Angad, Nala Nila. One more important person, which I hinted, Tara. I was telling you, right, that women were part of army expeditions, right? Tara was also part of it, right? We're making a mistake. Sugriva's wife is Roma, not Tara. I told you 5 minutes back, right? The wife who was kept by Bali. Tara is Bali's original wife, right? Roma is the wife which I 5 minutes back I told you, right? That Tara was kept by Bali. Tara was his original wife. That's not saying no, Tara is something mistaken. Okay, right? So now the teams towards south is the only team just surviving. They're still there. They're standing next to the sea and they're almost hopeless. They say, okay, let's not go back. How will I face Sugriva and Rama without Mata Sita? Some saying, no, let's start living here. They were just discussing ideas and how not to go back, how not to face the boss, right? Because we are unsuccessful. Only two people were hopeful. Not hopeful that they were gathering courage. Hanuman and Jaman, they were the wise ones, right? And they were trying to trace the whole sequence. Like when we lose anything, we trace, acha, wahan gaye the, then we went there. You were tracing the whole story. Okay, Jatayu said this, Kadamba said this, then we came here. Where can Sita be? And one more bird was listening to the story when they were discussing. This bird was Sampati, and Sampati is connected to how? They were brothers. Sampati was the elder brother. And when he heard that Jatayu is dead, he was very sad that my brother is dead. And if my brother helped Rama, it must be a right cause, right? Then I should also help. And he tells the final last amazing clues that I saw Ravana to go into that island. It was visible from there because they were almost in Rameshwaram. Rameshwaram is in Tamil Nadu. There's a place called the final point, Dhanushkodi. Very good. Dhanushkodi, where they were discussing all of this. And they said that island. And I also know the place where Mata Sita is in that island, which is Ashoka Vatika, because one of the flights I've shown, there she is kept. Now you know the exact Google coordinates almost, right? That in Sri Lanka and in that Vatika exactly, right? So now the bigger challenge is how to go there. They were not like super ships to go there. The small boats, you can't cross a sea through a small boat, and then someone who can swim, fly, jump, who are there. And there's a very interesting discussion about Vanaras, right? Angad is saying, I can go, but I don't know if will I come back or not, right? Will I have the patience? And you know, Jamanji was old. He said, oh, what you boys are. If I would have been young, this was like, jump there and come back, right? He was like giving that you guys don't eat good food, right? Eat, drink milk kind of discussion. And then Hanumanji was like, oh, I don't know. Then when Hanumanji was young, he had Ashtasiddhis, right? He can make himself big, small, but through one strap, he was forgotten those powers. He used to use those tricks just to play pranks, right? So two sadhus, they can say, you will forget your powers and only remember when you really need them, not for pranks, not for jokes, right? And someone has to motivate you. Someone has to remind you. So who reminded him? Jaman. He said, and then he remembered everything. And then from Rameshwaram, he swims, he flies, he jumps, and he reaches where? He reaches Lanka. This is the route from Ayodhya to some Prayag to Chitrakoot to Panchvati. There are a lot of smaller details. I'm just giving you a larger path to Kishkinda. And you know, this distance is almost 2,400 kilometers from, if it is straight line, that too, not the whole path. If it says that today's Google coordinates, it's almost, so we have from Ayodhya, we started within the last 50 minutes, we've already come 2,400 kilometers, right? In 40 minutes. That's a quick, even flight will take 3 hours from Delhi to, okay. Oh, this is a question here. What is the question? I forgot. Find on Google the distance in Ayodhya and Dhanushkodi. I already told you. But do remember this. About 100 kilometers, 550 kilometers, 150, 2,400, 2,400. But do check in our mobile phones also. And why I'm saying that using modern gadgets also you can find those distances. Meaning those distances are valid distances. They are not like Valmiki ji sat in his ashram and wrote some random text. Okay. So now comes the final. So what happens in Ayodhya or what happens in Sundarkand? So finally he traces Mata Sita. And to prove his identity, you logged in. Who logged into Zoom? You did. Who did the login to Zoom? Right? When they entered the other campus, they must have entered a password, right? Why they entered a password? Why you need a password? To authenticate the real Satya Sai campus people, right? Not some random people can enter, right? So to prove his identity, Hanumanji produced a password. What was the password? A ring. So the concept of password is quite old. The only thing from physical object is become a digital object. So, and Rama also knew that Sita has already been tricked once. She will not believe anyone, however close stories he will tell. So Hanumanji told intricate stories of Rama. Rama told me this, Rama told me this. No, that's all fine, but tell me, are you really a messenger of Nam? Show me something. Then at the last, like, no, he was not wearing it. He took it out because he did not want to wear Rama's ring. It was a very unique ring. When he produced the ring, then she understood, no, he's not some Mayavi Rakshas, he's the real messenger of Rama. And she also gave one thing to Hanuman, so that when Hanumanji meets Rama, Rama is assured that he has not met some Suparnakha type, which is converted into Sita. And so she knows that he has met. What she gave? She gave some Chulamani hair clip. And then when Hanumanji was succeeded in his mission, he's one of those, like if it's a team members who will do like if you send him from one work, he will do 4 more works, right? So he finished 3-4 more tasks. What all he finished? Lanka then comes a little later. First he goes to Ravana's court. He demoralized Ravana. He said, Ravana, why don't you go to the feet of Rama? So see, I am sitting in your court. I'm captured. Can you imagine? Like, so 4 people are capturing me. Say, hey, why don't you ask forgiveness to Rama? Like, how angry Ravana must have felt. He said, kill this monkey-looking person, right? Then someone comes. He said, no, you don't never kill a messenger. Who says that? Vibhishana. So even in a dharmic code of Ravana, there was a dharmic element. He said, no, messengers are never killed. Otherwise, the concept of messaging will be gone. If you keep killing each other's messengers, then who will carry messages? Right? So messengers are never killed. You can give him a small punishment, but you can't kill a messenger. So okay, then burn his tail. With the tail, you know what he did. He lunged. What was the purpose of burning Lanka? There are multiple purposes. Say this, don't feel shy. Huh? First to weaken it, right? Because he burned, it seems, almost 1/3 of Lanka. So that's one. Or what is? No, he was there for a day only. So time. First of all, just to find out, in the process, in the smoke and the thing, he was find out where is the army, what is their fortification, just to find out, right? And just to give in popular language, trailer. See, if a messenger can do this, if Rama will come, like you can imagine, like they say before a cricket match, right? They give speeches, right? My bouncer will break your head, right? Types, right? Like just intimate. Like there's a war, mental games, right? Before the war, just give a signal that if one person can do this much damage, can you imagine? Well, Rama will come, he will beat you red and blue, right? So he accomplished all of that and then came back to Rama and then communicated. And then all of them came, right? Before the war, one important thing happened is Vibhishana changed sides. Why he changed sides? Because Ravana insulted him big time, right? He was just giving one advice that this is not a dharmic war. You can't kidnap somebody's wife and have a war on this, right? And you return it. Otherwise, the whole Ravana, Asura clan will be gone. And a lot of other people also suggested the same. Malyavan, his father-in-law, suggested him. Marich suggested him. Later, Kumbhakaran suggested him. But he never heard to anyone. And he told Vibhishana, if you want to sing the songs of Rama, why don't you join Rama? And there was a huge debate when they were taking Rama, Vibhishana. One camp was, no, he's a mole. You know what is a mole? Mole means like a spy. Like he is still a Ravana person, he will leak the secrets out. And one team was telling, no, he's a very dharmic person. Who was supporting Vibhishana? Hanumanji, because Hanumanji has seen his behavior, that he's the one who saved me from Ravana's punishment. Right? Finally, they took Vibhishana. And I'm sure you know the sequencing of war, how people started getting killed. Kumbhakaran got killed. His last main important person was Indrajit. And Indrajit, in fact, almost killed Rama and Lakshmana both. In the popular version, they only saw Lakshmana got killed or Murchit, but both got Murchit. Rama and Lakshmana both got Murchit. In fact, half of the army got Murchit. Then Hanumanji went and got Sanjeevani Booty. He got revived. All of started a Ram and Ravana war. It was not a normal war. Ramayana says that the whole universe was watching that war. Right? Because Vishnuji took avatar for this only purpose. This was not like a normal war. This was a destined war. And Ravana is not like a roadside gunda. right? He was a very accomplished person, right? He was a very Vidwan person. He was a master of Vedas. He was one of the biggest Shiva Bhakta. He has, through Shivas and through lot of his pujas, he has earned a lot of power. He was an Ayurveda Acharya. He is, there's something called Ark Shastra, how you take an arc out of medicines. He was that. He has discovered a game which was very similar to the modern chess. He was a musician. He has composed a very famous song, Shivatarnam Srotram. He was written, music composed it. That's an interesting thing that even Vishnu temples today play Shivatarnam Srotram. No? That is the goodness of Indian culture, that I will play even enemy song. Right? If the content is good, I'm fine. Right? Right? So all of this is Ravana. Not only we only think Ravana is the one who kidnapped Mata Sita. That's the negative part. But all of these qualities is also Ravana. Right? And then Rama is what we know about Rama. This is the war between two giants. Right? And the war is happening. I'm sure you must have seen Ramanand Sagarji's Ramayana, where one tir goes and one tir goes, and then some happens, and one arrow goes back, one arrows, and then someone expression, right? And one episode gone. And this one episode is gone. But I'm saying, if not for Ramanand Sagarji's Ramayana, half of us will not be knowing the story of Ramayana. So all credit to him that he made such a beautiful version of Ramayana. Right? So all of that was happening. All this while Rama was on the ground, right? And Ravana was on the chariot. Then the gods up there sends a chariot for Rama also, right? Then the ball ferocious war is happening here and there, right? Continuously. And then towards the end, Rama realized it's a deadlock. Like even the best of the arrows are not able to. Though Ravana is getting hurt, but he's not getting eliminated. Then he got some secrets from Vibhishana and he eliminated Ravana, and Ravana fell, the mighty Ravana with all the qualities fell flat on the ground, right? See, as an entertaining story, is a very entertaining story, right? I have done multiple courses on story writing. You know, what is the crux of a good story? And after every short while, there should be a climax. There should be not a climax, sorry. There should be a twist. And there's a twist in every part. Rama is, so starting, Dasharatha is very happy, everything is fine. There is no son. Okay, son is born, son is powerful. Son is about to become the king. There is exile. Now the Vanvas is about to get over. Wife is kidnapped, right? War is about to be won. Rama and Lakshmana both are almost dead, right? So this had all the elements of a very successful, very entertaining story. But is the story just for entertainment? At one level, yes. One level, yes, right? Entertainment. That's why the story is surviving even today, because of the oral culture, right? But the crux of the story is Rama faced the worst challenges in life. And even then, in the end, who won? Rama won. Today, we have temples after temples of Rama. So much so that we fought a court case for Rama's temple, right? So from north to south, there are temples of Rama, right? After, if let's say the dating is 7,000 years, we are still talking about Rama. Multiple countries are talking about Rama. Not only India, outside India, we're talking about Rama, Rama's character, right? Why? Not only because of the war, not only because he won, the life he lived in those 14 years, right? What are the three main challenges he faced? He was about to become a king tomorrow and he was exiled. Imagine tomorrow you're about to get a job and then you get a no, you're sacked even without getting a job, right? Just imagine, right? Second, his wife. Wife is a symbol for your closest person in your life, right? She's kidnapped. And that time he could have asked help from a lot of kings. He knew every other king. Every other king was his father's friend. But he could have went back and sent a message to Bharat and said, "Bhai, it's a time of calamity. Let's pause this Vanvas thing for a while and let's find Sita and then I'll continue my Vanvas." He did not do that. He tied up not, he could have tied up with Bali also, but he tied with the exiled king, right? And then in the war, he was about to lose his life. So he lost his kingdom, he lost his wife, he was about to lose his life. But he never took shortcuts. He never took a dishonest way. He taught us that even with morality, even with good path, a war, a challenge can be won. And that's why we're talking about Rama even after 7,000 years. It took long, it took 14 years. But in 14 years, he came back and he became Maryada Purushottam Shri Ram. Right? And that's the lesson of Ramayana. Apart from the story, and I think it gives us a, if I can use the word, decision framework. Every day we decide in life, right? Every day we decide in life. Let's say we decide what clothes to wear today. That's a small decision. What food to eat today. That's a small decision. Bigger decision might be what will I study in life? Whom will I marry? Will I not marry? If I marry, whom will I marry? Where will I work? Which country, which city, which state will I live? What will I do? These are bigger decisions in life. But based on some idea, we take a decision, right? For a smaller, will I eat a vegetarian food or a non-vegetarian food? Will I eat a sattvic food or a tamasic food? Whom I marry? All these decisions, we have some decision framework based on our upbringing, based on what our parents told us, based on what gurus told us, where our education happened. Ramayana gives you another framework for decision. Whenever you are in challenge, right? I'm not belittling any, but it's very difficult to have a challenge bigger than Rama. Your wife is gone, you're about to lose your life, right? If you're about to lose your life, what can be a bigger challenge than that, right? Even then he was not dishonest. Even then he was not doing shortcuts. He was following every book of honesty and the good path, of truthful path. And even then, the good thing is that even then he won. Even then he's a legend in history. Even then we talk about him today, right? And whenever you are in trouble, whenever you are in challenge, just think of Rama. If Rama won, I'm from his country. I'm his descendant. All of us are his descendant, right? If Rama won after 14-year challenges, I have to be just truthful. I have to just continue on my path. And if I'll be truthful to my purpose, I will win this challenge, win this war. Not everything is not a war, but win this challenge. And that's to my understanding, that's the lesson from Ramayana. Right? We agree with that? So the last lesson is, in the long run, the good, the honest, the truthful one wins. The long run can be a little longer and shorter, right? But if you are honest to your purpose, you will win. Okay, now tell me, who's your favorite character in Valmiki Ramayana? In the same Menti, if you forgot, you can still go to menti.com and get code. Can you give me some more water? Oh, is there? Sorry, I didn't see. Okay, Rama, Hanumanji. If bigger is the name, mean many people have entered it. Only thing, Hanumanji spelling will not merge with Hanuman. You know, I was talking to one person who studies temples, and he told me a very interesting, little funny fact that India has far more temples of Hanumanji than Ramji. Which is very interesting, that Bhakt has more temples than the God himself. That's the power of Bhakti. Can you imagine? That's the power of Bhakti, that the Bhakt has more temples than the God himself. Right? Beautiful. Anyone, if you want to, I'm sure you don't have mobile phones and you're not entering, but who's your favorite character and why? And if they can talk, if they can also talk. If those campuses can talk, who's your favorite character and why? At least 2-3 responses. What you learn from that character. If you don't say, I will pick up names myself. Names means faces. Who won the quiz? You can't just win the quiz. Now you know everything about Ramayana, so you have to speak also. Give the mic. Just introduce, just tell me your name. And what are you doing in the institution?
I'm Sri Ranga, studying my master's in Sanskrit.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. So who's your favorite character in Ramayana and what you learn from that character?
My favorite is Rama, because one thing is that from our childhood, we have kept on learning about Rama from our parents and grandparents.
Yeah.
And he's seen more as an ideal person who never wavered in his path of Dharma. Whenever he faced any situation in life, life was not very... it was harsh on him.
Very harsh on, not harsh, very harsh on him.
Actually, his in a not and if we have to put not in a nice way, his life was a tragedy.
His life was a tragedy.
So, but he showed how a person can, whatever we see in Bhagavad Gita, we can see in Rama's life.
Exactly.
So that's how Rama has been our
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Some more responses. Who is your favorite character? And you can't repeat Ram now. No other character. Yeah, sir wants to say something. And when sir finishes, I'll tell you about how Valmiki ji wrote it. We have 5-10 more minutes, right? Okay. Sir said Valmiki ji. Yeah, because you were not holding mic then. Yeah. Yeah, your voice is coming. Yeah.
He taught good story to all of us. How to good person
Mhm.
also.
Yeah, now says. Yeah. So I'm saying someone who documented it, right? Otherwise, we would not even known the story. You know how the story, just give me 2 minutes, I'll tell you how Valmiki ji wrote it, right? So there are two people who nudged him. You know what is nudging? Arey, likho na, please write it, right? So two people nudged him. One is Narada. So Narada Muni used to go to every place, right? He was like a courier person, right? Courier of thoughts, courier of ideas, right? Not physical courier. So one day, in fact, Valmiki ji asked him and narrated some 16 qualities that I want to write about someone who has all these qualities, who is able, who is honest, who can control his anger, who's good looking also, who is able, who is adept, who is knowledgeable. All this person, I want to write about a living person. And Narada told there is only one person who fits the bill, who fits all these qualities. Sri Ramchandra is surviving not very far away from you, right? That and then after some time, there is an incident of two birds were male and female birds were there, and one hunter killed one of the birds. And when the bird fell in a shrap, to give the shrap to the hunter, Valmiki ji said one shloka, and that came in one chanda. Yeah, and that chand was so profound that even Brahmaji came that this is a very profound chand. Even this chand, you write something, the story of Rama, which Narada already pointed out to you. There'll be a kavya for eternity. And that's how he wrote with motivation from Narada and motivation from Brahma in that same chand. Chand means rhyming scheme, right? The pattern in which shlokas have a lot of chands, right? In which you can create a shloka. And that's how he wrote. Valmiki ji wrote, as sir said. And if it not for him, we would not have known about life of Rama, such an amazing life. One more response. Oh, wow.
My favorite character in Ramayana is Hanuman.
Acha ji.
One of the first points you mentioned about the leadership qualities is develop expertise. So in the path of bhakti, it's having devotion to God is the most important thing. But it's not just enough to have devotion and you don't do anything else.
Yeah.
Hanuman had utmost devotion to Rama, but that was just one part. He was also well versed in everything else.
Everything else.
And it was through him that Rama could achieve whatever he achieved.
Whatever is.
And there's one line which Hanuman tells that sums up the entire essence of spirituality.
What is that?
Deha bhavena dasoham, atma jiva bhavena twadam shakaha, and atma bhavena twamevaha.
Explain that.
So he says that when I think I am the body, I am your servant. When I think I am the soul, I am a part of you. And when I think I am that supreme consciousness, I am you, and we both are one and there's no two.
Beautiful.
So he understood all the essence of spirituality, and yet he continued doing it with the same humility, with the same devotion, with the same surrender.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. I'll tell you again a 1-minute story. So, when in Karnataka, when Ramji and Hanumanji met, they met in a little suspicious circumstances. What is a suspicious circumstance? So Ramji, just imagine Ramji and Ramji and Lakshmana approaching the Kishkinda hill, right? And Sugriva and team is sitting on the top. They're watching, these boys are coming. And there was something suspicious about Ramji and Lakshmanji. Can you see what is suspicious about them? If you look at them, you'll find it suspicious. Yeah, exactly. They're wearing a saintly cloth and they're holding bow and arrow, which is very suspicious, right? Because they're wearing the saffron attire like a sadhu, right? And they were holding bow and arrow. So Sugriva thought that Bali has sent some hired killers right? We want Supari killers to kill me. And who are they? Check out on them. And who is sent to check out on them? Hanuman was his favorite person. So you check out on them and go in a normal form. He went as a normal sannyasi. And they had a conversation. He asked, who are you? They replied, and the conversation happened. So as the conversation was happening, Rama was lost. And he told Lakshmana, he's not a normal person. The way he's talking, the kind of words he's using, the kind of grammar he's using, the kind of melodies in his tone, the kind of words, vocabulary he's using, he's a Vidwan. Like a normal person doesn't talk like this. And then you realize that if you know, Hanumanji's teacher was God's son, from where he learned all his knowledge. And this is not the quality normally we attribute Hanumanji. You know this game called Dumb Charade, right? If I say Hanumanji, what will you do? Like, you will not say this, right? This is Hanumanji. Hanumanji means Balwan. We never say Buddhiman. A lot of people say it, but normally we connect Hanumanji to Bal, not a Buddhi. Though in Hanuman Chalisa there is Bal Buddhi, don't know. But again, in Ramayana, we get introduced that he's an amazing Vedic scholar also, apart from being a very Shaktishali person also. So good that you mentioned that. It's not only bhakti, it's also the ability and devotion. Yeah. Okay. Vibhishana. Why Vibhishana?
Because Vibhishana never swerved from the path of dharma, even though his family members were following a path of adharma.
Yeah.
And then finally, when the Gupta Kanda came, he decided to throw in his daughter on the path of dharma instead. And he says, he saw to it that adharma would be ultimately defeated, even though it meant the death of his own family members.
Yeah. And death of his own family members, and very well said, and also a defamation for lifetime. You know, today there's a kahavat in Hindi, Ghar ka bedi lanka dhai, meaning like there is no good proverb around Vibhishan. Vibhishan is still considered like a traitor, right? But even after facing the abuse like traitor, he went on the path of dharma, right? And that's a challenge that you be away from your brother, but we stand on the side of dharma. I think with this, I just want to end the session. Hopefully you enjoyed. I enjoyed talking to all of you. Yeah, thank you. Namaskaram. You have a few questions? Yeah, surely. It's your question or somebody's question?
Others.
Acha, others' question. Just read their name also,
Okay.
if you can.
It's from Gulbarga boys.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Today, among the youth of India and the world, learning the Ramayana or studying of Ramayana is considered something to be uncool. People prefer to study modern literature or works of Shakespeare rather than spending time on studying
Right.
Ramayana.
Right.
So how do we change this perspective, or how do we change this belief and
Right.
encourage people to study
Right.
Ramayana?
I don't know, do you guys watch some movies or not? Do you get a chance to watch? How many of you watched RRR? A lot of people have watched RRR, right? You know, RRR is the movie is famous and hit because the hero takes the form of Rama in the end, and not only form, like almost this form, right? With Tir, Dan, Dhanush, dress, dhoti, right? So Rama is already becoming cool in public. Rama is cool always, but in public consciousness, and RRR is hit among youth. Like I'm sure a lot of you must have loved it, right? So I think for a lot of time, a lot of people told us, oh, Rama is not Maryada Purushottam. He killed Bali by a trick. He allowed Sita to go away. He's not followed path of dharma. A lot of people tried to make it vichalit. And because on our textbooks, only institution like this, Ramayana is being read and studied properly, right? And also combined with Mahabharata and Gita, if you imbibe these three texts, right, your psyche, your confidence, as I told you, your decision framework will be far more different. But again, from last couple of years, I'm saying, thanks to Ramanand Sagarji also, during Corona, Doordarshan has telecasted that Ramayana again, and it becomes world's largest watched episode ever. World's largest. Some 79 million people in the world watched DD's episode during Corona, right? So it's already becoming cool. That's a good sign. Now multiple versions of Ramayana is coming. If you know this author called Amish Tripathi, who's the director of Nehru Center in London now, he's written a Shiva trilogy, in little modern format, a lot of versions of Ramayana and Sita, and which is very popular among youth, right? Multiple versions. I have done the smaller sessions and bigger sessions in almost 22 countries, some physical, some online, right? It's because the story of Rama people want to hear, right? So good that we are all discussing Rama, and try to bring out a lot of idioms and phrases and sub stories which we can use in our normal life. There's some idioms and phrases that we already use. Just tell me some phrases that we use from Ramayana. Lakshman Rekha. That's a very common phrase that we use, right? Any other phrase that we use? Rama Rajya. Politically, it's used. The Rama Rajya under this CM or is this PM, Rama Rajya has come. Try to develop more, many more. Let's say the sacrifice of Bharat was amazing. So whenever you talk about sacrifice, do quote Bharat. Whenever you talk about architecture, do quote who was maker of Lanka or Indraprastha, Vishwakarma. So try to bring out this legends, right? And then he'll be more available in our conversations, in our dinner conversations, in our sports conversations, in our classroom conversations. See, we are a Rama civilization, right? And consciously, unconsciously, we are living it also. But yeah, because from many years it was suppressed, and there are not a lot of institutions which are progressing, and still in a very secular India, in a normal government college school, you can't teach Ramayana. Very interestingly, and this will can end. I went to a Ramayana conference in Jabalpur. Jabalpur is a city in Madhya Pradesh, right? And there was a Ramayana ballet from Indonesia. They were doing a Nritya Natika on a group from Indonesia. If you know, Indonesia is a country where 90% people follow Islam. And out of 8 people on the stage, 7 were Muslim, 1 girl was Christian, right? So there was no Hindu in that group. And there was a beautiful ballet on, even without voice, you can understand which scene of Ramayana are they displaying or conducting. So after the ballet, I met them on the lunch and I asked them that this is a very Hindu religious text, and how come you being Muslim and Christians, you being from Indonesia, you're following this text and you're doing a ballet. And they were doing that ballet, that group, from last almost 29-30 years, every single day in a place in Indonesia. And they told a very interesting thing. They said, Islam might be my faith, but Ramayana and Rama is my culture. So when Rama can be a culture, not only for India, in fact, almost every South Asian country. You know, Ramses, the names of kings in Egypt, they're also derived from Rama. The kings in Thailand are still called Rama 1, Rama 2. The current king is called Rama 10. So Rama became synonymous with a good king. It's become like a paryayavachi, what you call synonymous for a good king, right? As someone said, Rama Rajya has become a synonymous. And now, because of a lot of modern writings, because of Bollywood, Tollywood, cinema, a lot of sessions, someone like Kumar Biswas, who's doing a lot of sessions. So Ramayana is becoming cool, and hopefully it should become more and more cool, and every child should access it, because between Ramayana, Mahabharata and Gita, it lies the essence of a very divine, very fulfilling life lived. Yeah. Okay, shall we end? You want to ask something? Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Namaskar to everyone.
We would once again like to extend our gratitude to Sir for spending his time with all of us and taking us to a deep journey through all the kandas of Ramayana. Sir, we would like to ask you to continue associating with our university and come again and again to speak with us about various things that we can learn from Ramayana. I would like to convey my gratitude to the university higher ups for organizing this platform where we can interact with so many such leaders in their own fields, where they can teach us what they have learned. We'll end today's session with Shanti Mantra. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.